What's going on, bud? My name is AJ. I am the friendly hermit, your drinking buddy. Cheers. Got our palate cleanser going. The official, unofficial beverage of the channel. I'm sure it's going to piss off a lot of people, but that's okay. I'm excited for today. For this particular episode, I've got something very local, very it's a local brewery, and the product, I mean, you've already clicked on the video, so you have an idea. You know what you're getting into. It's just a beautiful day, my friend. We got woodpeckers in the trees. We got squirrels, playing, having a good time all around. We are in the middle of the city, so this is an illusion. This is just a a strip of forest. I can't even call it a forest. It's a strip of trees, and the bushes haven't grown yet. It's very early in the season. But I'm excited for today because, I mean, there's some history with me and not necessarily this particular product, but the brewing company, I think, is local. We're going to have to take a look at it because I don't actually know where they are, but I know they're local enough that every year where I live, there is something called Beer and Rib Fest. And you go and you get, I mean, you can decide what you want, of course. There's plenty of different, all of these different breweries and I assume restaurants. I don't know what you would call them. At the very least, they are people that do ribs. The Beer and Rib Fest. So if that didn't immediately put a marker on where I'm living, then, I'm sure you could Google it and find out exactly where I am. Of course, I haven't hit it in the past. It's not like I'm sitting here being like, oh, I'm afraid of the internet and what the people are going to say. Oh, they're going to find me and what? Like, I don't know. I expect I don't have any, like, top tier enemies that are, out there to get me, I'm not afraid of a boogeyman, but I like to boogie, man. Da, 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 da. Tonto, jump on it, jump on it, jump on it. No, we're being silly today. We have a very very, very seriously. I'm excited for this particular product because of my local area, and I don't even know what I've had of theirs, but at this Beer and Rib Fest that happens in the summer every year, they bring a bunch of their different. It's, to my understanding, it's different IPAs. And it's a strange event because you get basically a platter of whatever you want. There are different vendors, and all of these different vendors come in. All of these breweries here are whatever. This is what we're offering, and you can get for $1, at least in the past. I don't know what it is now, and frankly, this summer might, change the price a bit, but it's like a little sipper. It's not a shot glass being this much. It's more like this. It's a thin, it's like a tall shot glass, if that makes sense. A little more than that even. It's not a full beer. and it's not a shot. You get like a taster. It's a taster, let's call it. You're going to taste test the different products that are available in my local area. All these breweries come together and they set up their little tent, whatever. I don't know what you call it. And you go, and it's $1. At least it was $1 back in the day. And you go and you order. Oh, there's 4 different whatever beers or whatever they're offering, and here's $5, and you get a little platter of tasters, and you taste all these different beers. So, all that said, this is a beer from Flying Monkey. Has anyone ever heard of this? Flying Monkey? And the can is absurd, but I love it because the absurdity and the outrageous nature of what's going on here is perfect. They probably have a local artist, or they have I don't even know. I have no idea who they got to do this. But it's got a lot of information. It's very busy on the can. And yeah, like it's fun. I want to say Flying Monkey in my local area is fun. It's a fun brewery, and I don't even know, like, my experience with them is a lot of it is experimental, but they tend to put out things that are like a beer that is you're not going to have this anywhere else, sort of thing. It's a crazy, like, look at this can. If the can is any indicator of how, they're just I have no words. I have no words for this. They go in a direction that is very uncommon for most breweries. They go kind of millennial chic. They go kind of silly, like they don't take themselves too seriously, and they have fun. It's very colorful. It's very Canadian, Southern Ontario in particular, and they put out a product that is experimental. Is my interpretation of it. So I'm excited to give this guy a. I'm reading the back, and you're gonna laugh at this as well. So let's set aside Dinker and Sinker. Setting aside our palate cleanser, I'm gonna sit up and get right in. Sorry, my face is gonna be. I still look very evil because of the lighting. Let's get a screenshot, Jacob Jones style. Jacob Jones couldn't do a better thumbnail. I'll do a side view like this, and I'll go. We're doing the Jacob Jones style thing because we are inspired. This channel is inspired by Jacob Jones, but he cannot drink beer because of gluten and stuff. So we're going to be the gluten monkey. And this is the Flying Monkey. So let's take a look at the can. I'm going to give it a spin real quick. Plump and unfiltered, right on the top here, with this yellow band around the right around where I'm going to take a sip. The I want to say the art. It is art. It is art. It is very artistic. But what we see is tons of writing amongst fun scribbles, almost as if. And if you look at this is a good bar to kind of understand my interpretation is that it's almost like a piece of lined paper. You know, you go to school and there's just lines. I'm sorry. That's embarrassing. So what we have is the artwork, the design here of the can. My interpretation is that we're going for a like this is something, the art, the design is something that, you know, in school you're sitting in class and you're doodling and you're taking notes, and this is what you would see, right? It's not meant to be taken seriously. It's just a lot of fun. And so this is Flying Monkey. Flying Monkey. I don't know if you can see the whole logo in one go because it's stretching quite a distance across the can. But Flying Monkey, Juicy A-word IPA. Juicy A-word. So for all y'all who are juicy A-word men, this might be for you. Strong beer, 6.5. So we're taking a step down from the headstock that we had earlier. And I'll just read what we have going on in the can here. From the busy minds and happy hands of the Flying Monkeys, enjoy Juicy A-word IPA, a golden ambrosia of beautiful hops with notes of pine, tangerine, and passion fruit. Plump and fresh, Juicy A is a fun, delicious craft beer. Very, very fascinating. So we're looking for the tangerine, the pine, and the passion fruit in the flavor. Normal is weird, is what it says, and yeah, to some degree, I say yeah, that's probably accurate. Brewed in Canada, we have a bunch of ghosts and little, I want to say, figures, characters, just all sorts of chaos happening on this can. Juicy is the word we use when we talk about hops. All right. Our award-winning American IPA moshes. I don't know what that meshes. Is that supposed to be meshes? But it says moshes. Bright, fruity notes, dank, hoppy bitterness, and fresh, verdant resins with sticky malts for softly carbonated, unfiltered flavor. That's really cool. Contains barley, wheat, and oats. And that, for the most part, is what this can says. We're getting the government warning. That's pretty standard stuff. Do not drink while you're pregnant. Do not drink and drive. Yeah, that's more or less what it says. But yeah, like this is pretty standard, and the can itself is a work of art. So very much excited to give this a shot. Again, this is from a local brewery, and I wish I knew specifically where they were located so I could appreciate it more, but I'm not seeing specifically where. Imported from Canada by ESBER Beverage Company, Canton, Ohio, USA. Okay, so I thought they were local to us, but maybe they're not. They're brewing it locally, but maybe it's not a Canadian beer, despite the fact that they have the Canadian leaf, the Canadian flag, rather. Canadian leaf. Oh my goodness. But yeah, like this is very common. This particular brewery is like you can find beverages from Flying Monkey all over the place, and I always assume that they were Canadian. So I'm going to say that they are, but now I'm seeing, like, I have no idea. Brewed in Canada, there you go, by Flying Monkeys of Barrie, Ontario. There it is. very Ontario. I'm sure it is. Like, why would you be at a local Canadian beer festival if you're not, if you're not Canadian? So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's more to it than just where you're from. But anyway, this is Juicy Flying Monkeys Plump and Unfiltered Strong Beer, 6.5%. Let's give it a shot. Cheers. Sound of heaven, ready? Ooh, there was some. Oh, wow. There was some weight and some compression in that. All right. That was probably the best Sound of Heaven I've had in a long time. The feel of the can immediately went, Okay, let's give it a smell. First impression, very light. Definitely getting a hops flavor, but it's muted compared to the headstock we had last. It's from just a scent perspective, I'm not getting any notes of passion fruit or tangerine or pine, but we'll have to give it a taste, I suppose. This is very much hops as the scent. I mean, this is pretty standard, right? We've been here before. I had a little bit of something there, but got some foam on my nose. And in terms of, we got some carbonation here. In terms of body, it looks carbonated, but we'll have to give it a taste and see what we think. So, Flying Monkey, let's see how juicy your A word is. Cheers, Dinker and Sinker. All right. I am, first impression, getting nothing. Like nothing that it said. Passion fruit, tangerine, maybe like the headstock. They said what they said, and it made sense, right? Citrus, pine, and whatever the third thing was. That made sense. It made total sense. It was very much exactly what they said. Was like, it made sense. And it was, again, there was that silky, very smooth, kind of just like a ribbon of mouthfeel and body. It was very smooth. And I'm not a fan of beverages that don't just taste like a liquid or feel like a liquid. This is a step up from the, I don't even want to, it's not even accurate to say a step up. It's closer to what I want in a drink. This feels more like a drink. The headstock felt more like I said, a ribbon of silk. And that ribbon of silk wasn't a bad thing. That's not a negative. That was just describing the experience of drinking it, the mouth feel. This is more akin to our palate cleanser. Very much there is a liquid. You're drinking a drink. Like, this is more of a drink than the headstock. It's still smooth, but there's more carbonation, or rather, harsher carbonation. So the larger bubbles, you feel them. You do feel them. And that's not a bad thing. Again, not a negative. So in terms of mouthfeel, yeah, definitely larger carbonation. Not necessarily larger carbonation, but the bubbles are more apparent, if that makes sense. And the flavor is, believe it or not, the flavor is milder. And despite the 6.5%, which is less than the headstock, so less alcohol than the headstock, the alcohol flavor is more apparent, which isn't necessarily a good thing for me personally. The flavor is very bitter. It's very bitter. To say juicy, I'll give it that. I wouldn't say it's literally juicy, but in terms of like beer, it's less, again, when we're talking about the mouthfeel, less velvety, more liquidy. So yes, I will say juicy A word is, more appropriate. So maybe this would be an easier thing to drink. Yeah, I could see this being an easy beer to drink. And if you're into like a strong beer, this is totally fine. I was expecting more flavor. When we're talking about tangerine, pine, and passion fruit, I'm getting no fruity notes at all. Nothing in this is telling me there's a sweet note or a fruity note. The pine, all right. I'm not going to say the pine is forward because it's not, but I always get the hops. And I feel like whenever I see the word pine, I'm now starting to learn. I wonder if pine is just a fancy way to say there's a lot of hops in this, because hops has a very earthy, bitter, green, kind of all-encompassing, like it's going to take your palate and put it in that direction. It's going to take you in that way. Nothing about this is tangerine to me, unless you maybe consider like a citrus peel, like a tangerine peel, but there's no indication that this citrus peel is tangerine. Like I said, maybe grapefruit and the passion fruit. If that's there is no note. Ontario Brewing Award 2016-2017. They've done well in Ontario. I know they have. Like I said, they've been to the different festivals that my city has set up, and yeah, they've absolutely 100% been around. And if they've won awards, I mean, I could understand it. Because it's an IPA and it's pretty easy. It's pretty light. Light drinking, but heavy flavor. There's a lot of hops. This is a heavy, bitter forward. Yeah, it's a dry, but not. The flavor is dry, but the liquid itself is more akin to Pabst, which is very fascinating to me. This is the very new to me. I don't tend to, like I said, I don't tend to drink IPAs, but this one, less velvety, more like just like a standard beer, and but the flavor is there. It's very flavorful. So if you want a lot of flavor, this could be a decent little beverage for you to enjoy. And if you don't like a lot of like, this is light, I'll say that, despite the fact that it's the 6.5. Um, the alcohol taste is there, but the flavor helps to kind of mask it, if that makes sense. There's one last thing I wanted to read here. 107 Dunlop Street, Barrie, Ontario, Canada. Earth, Milky Way, the universe, infinity. That's very cute. Like, really being specific with the address. That's excellent. It's just funny. It's kind of a cute little, you got to give them credit for being fun. Like, they're having fun. And I hope the working conditions at the Flying Monkey Craft Brewery, I assume it's probably a lot of millennials like myself, and they're just, having a good time. And so I got to give them credit for that, give them points for that. Like, this is a good beer. It's a good beer. Again, I'm not an IPA guy. So, I find them pretentious, and they're trying to be 1,000 things, and they can't just be like, boring. This is boring. I wonder if there's some psychology involved with, like, look at this can versus look at this can. This can is nothing. This can is cheap. It's the bare bones. It's just nothing. So to one degree, I have to wonder, is, like, doing all of this, like, this is mostly marketing, right? With all of the fun, it's fun. Like, I can read the can as I'm drinking. There's 1,000 things to look at. The whole time I've been looking at this can, because there's so much to absorb in the drawing. There's fish, there's little beer, there's little monsters going, rah, there's little worms, there's dice, there's hops, there's, like, what I assume is like a robot, but then he's brewing something. There's a popsicle. Like, there's so much happening, right? It's almost like the product is crazy, it's wild. Juicy A word. And of course, the use of the A word, that's the product name. That's what this is. Juicy A word. So then I have to go, like, are we like overcompensating, But Flying Monkey, this is their brand. All of their products are this, more or less. And I give them credit for following brand, and B, it's fun to look. It is fun to look at, Like, I want to just, like, explore the can as I'm drinking it. There's a parachuter over here. I didn't even see that. A little stick figure, parachuting. So, like, it's a fun product. I'll always appreciate Flying Monkey for their kind of, like, over the top absurdity, but also it's kind of down to earth, and it's like, just like, anyone could doodle this, you know what I mean? Like, this is not like some, like, believe it or not, Pabst hires sometimes the most, like, beautiful artists to do, like, limited edition like, art on their cans. Fine, you don't even need to do that, Pabst. You just give us this, just give me the can. I don't care, because it's the product I'm buying, right? But they're trying to sell it. They're trying to, more or less, they're trying to emulate what something like a company like Flying Monkey is doing, where this is literally a local business, and they want to have Pabst wants to have that very oh, we're just the local guy. They want to have that same, because people want to buy and support local breweries. So I feel like Pabst, in its, I'll give it a point down when they put that art. Thank God they're supporting local artists, but also I feel like it's clearly a marketing ploy to try and emulate something like the Flying Monkey Company. So I don't know. That's just my opinion. If I had to give this a rating out of 10, this is it. Flying Monkey, Juicy A-word IPA. It's a 7. It's a step below the headstock that we just had, but only because I feel like headstock really has, in terms of its, like, it's just what it is. Simple. Very strong, by the way, compared to this. This is a 6.5. I believe the headstock was a 7. Maybe, yeah, I think it was a 7. And this, I don't know what the difference is in the process of brewing, but this has more alcohol taste, but the headstock, it was more alcohol and I couldn't taste it. So I don't know what the heck they're doing over at what was it? Something brewery. I can't remember. I'll put it on the screen here. That brewery, I don't know what they're doing, but they did magic. Again, the mouthfeel was very velvety, very silky. This here, I'll give them this Flying Monkey. This is easier to drink in terms of mouthfeel. This is much easier to just. It's not a lot. There's the flavor, but the texture and the thickness, the carbonation, this is easier to drink. So I'll give them credit there. So Flying Monkey, Juicy A-word. I'm going to give it a 7. It's good. It's really good. It's just a little too much bitter flavor for me. And not that I want sweet, because I don't. So I've said that 1,000 times. But yeah, there's just so much going on with this can and with the flavor. They're kind of like misleading you when they say passion fruit, because even if that is there, there's no indication in the flavor. The pine, the tangerine, you don't need to be so specific, because when I take a sip, there's definitely that citrus. What do we call it when we just have the skin of the like, if this is the skin of a citrus, like of a tangerine, there's no indication that is what it is. So yeah, like a 7 is good. I would say a 7 is a good number. Like, it's a good beer. I would argue it's a great beer. It's just, I'm not an IPA guy, and I feel like the description is somewhat misleading, because notes of pine, maybe, but that's hops. We're really just getting the hops. So I feel like if it says pine, I'm going to start to keep track of this. Anytime I see a can or a beer or whatever that says, hey, we're piney, I'm going to say that's probably a marketing thing, because hops has that kind of outside forest, like, it's not pine, literally. Did they literally put pine in this? No, notes of pine means, yeah, we got a lot of hops in here, is my interpretation at this point. So, yeah, like, it's great, but headstock is better. And I would say, depending on your palate, depending on what you want to drink, this is probably easier drinking than the headstock. So that's it. That's all I have to say. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I did. It's a good beer. Like, if you're in Southern Ontario or if you have access to Flying Monkey products, they're good. And it, they're not just showing up at local events because they want to. Like, they are genuinely, like, they deserve to be there. Their products are fun. They're always fun. At the very least, you're gonna have fun. So yeah, thanks for hanging out with me. Hopefully, this was helpful. Probably not. We're just hanging out. And that's it. I gotta take a nap. Gotta go home soon. Dinker and sinker, my friends. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you next time. And thanks for hanging out with me. You're my drinking buddy. I needed a drinking buddy, and I don't have a drinking buddy. So I just thank you. Thanks for hanging out.